Chronicle of the Crown, session 24? Question mark? Yeah. So last time we tried on the true crown with good results, I would say, and we're going to launch into I suppose, a bit of a montage, at least at the start. So we have Wyatt departing the Holy City to go and act as a form of, I suppose, emissary / sort of diplomat for the newly instated king. Yeah, herald.
Many hats he has.
Yeah. So going about as he do, because he is a smuggler by trade from his previous life,
and a lot of connections, especially back home in Riethal.
So he's gone abroad to do the work of the king.
The good work.
And we at the Holy City are going to be going into a bit of a montage, as you would have it. So I guess we can start with just the casual, easy bit of Kameron perhaps taking a couple of months to now study the magic in the charred hide glove bracer combination that you found in the mountains all those months back. So this is learning a new spell. Do you have down the spell that I said was on the glove?
No, I think it's
page 219, Spark Shower.
Spark, yeah, it's 2.
Yeah. So that is the spell inscribed on the hide glove in basically branded magical lettering. And as soon as I find the thing, I'm going to start to learn it.
Spark Shower, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. So this is the so-called first reading. So you make a sorcery test versus the spell's obstacle.
Which is 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can fork, help, and all that as you will. And this takes up 2 months of our time here.
Sorcery, so my sorcery is this.
If you get extra successes, those knock off 10% at a time. So if you get a lot,
50,
you might
50 chance of getting it right off the bat. What can I fork in for this? Research?
Did I not put that in? Maybe I didn't.
We talked about forking in for sorcery, but I don't know for learning a spell if this counts.
No, yeah, it's a sorcery roll. It's the same thing. So here we go. So yeah, astrology. If you want to put in the die that opens both ways, like it can deduct successes as well.
Right.
Astronomy, alchemy, aura reading, empyrelia, and demonology are your options.
I'll fork in alchemy.
Yeah.
I'll fork in astrology as well. Or corruption. I mean, what? No. Stay strong. Don't. Stay strong. Arthur dice. I'm going to hold off for now. So 6 though. There's a 6 there. I could.
Yeah.
I could.
If you want to roll it, you can knock off some time from the time it takes you to do the thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You never know.
if you spend the fate.
Yeah, I'm spending the
on-
fate. Yeah. Well,
Well, yeah, I guess no, the 6 doesn't matter, but you can spend a fate anyway to roll an extra die because it's already re-rolled the 6 because
Oh, is it?
sorcery does that.
okay, then I won't. Then if it's
Yeah.
already done it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so yep, you are successful. So you understand the basics of the spell, and you can move on to what's called the practicals. So practicals, here's the dangerous part. Your mastery is far from complete. You only have a basic grasp on the spell. You must cast it to fully understand it. When casting the new spell, the sorcerer suffers an obstacle penalty equal to his perception aptitude. So what's your perception?
Perception is 5. 5d.
Okay. So obstacle penalty of 5. Reduce this penalty by 1 for each time the spell is cast. Once you've reduced the practical penalty down to 1, you've completed the course. You can cast the spell with a +1 obstacle penalty. Good for you. So basically, you're starting at obstacle 7. And then each time you cast it, you knock it down by 1.
Right. Okay.
So this is you doing practical training with your new spell.
Do I have to roll for these?
Yeah, these would be like things you go forward now and you use the spell, and every time you use it, you knock it down by 1 until you get to +1 obstacle penalty. And then you can do your second reading. You can go back to the book or the glove, as it is in this case, and you do a second reading, you roll again, and then you're done.
Okay. So do I have to roll a bunch of times until I get through?
Yes, but in game.
Okay.
So that would be in play.
Okay.
Right. Let's see. Does it say here? Yeah. So like skill tests, these tests must be game legitimate. No sitting around your tower, setting your couch on fire. Can't do that. You have to do it in the actual play.
Here's a
But yeah.
question though. That routine, that thing I just did there, the first reading, do I still get the XP for that particular reading? Does that still count?
What do you mean XP?
So the first reading was a routine test.
Yeah, for sorcery, you mean?
So I get the routine.
Yeah, for your sorcery, yeah.
Because that's the last one I needed to upgrade sorcery.
Oh, wonderful. So it was a strategic. No, I guess because it's a routine.
I'd like to say that that's exactly what I had planned to do, and I had concocted this entire charade to get my character. But that's not
elaborate ruse, like your ancestor. So yeah, you can knock your sorcery up by 1 in that case.
Boom, baby.
So you have completed your first reading. Now you need to cast the spell 4 times at big obstacle penalties, and then you can continue. You can go back to reading the inscription. It takes less time to do the second reading when we get there. So now it's up to you to use it a couple times, get used to the spell, and then
I have
you
to
can master
succeed
it.
in casting it.
No, you just cast it.
Okay. Oh man. Oh, you're gonna love this because this is gonna be magic misfires. Oh boy.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great because the spell's medium is like fire and all that shit. Like it's gonna be fine.
Just see Johanna sat there like, excellent.
Yes, Smithers.
But I don't gain the corruption until I've learnt the spell.
Yeah, because you haven't learned the spell yet. You know how to,
that's good. Well,
put things together, but yeah, we'll wait until the second reading because that's when you actually, sort of cement it. Okay, so that's something Kameron spends a bunch of time doing. Now, we are in the spring, so we're advancing towards we're on the doorstep of summer now, and we receive word back from Lord Beric of the Northern Front. And indeed, in the couple of months that go by here in this period of time, there's sort of the rumors reach you, and Beric writes you back as well. He has sort of become a there's people recognizing him as a prince would be, I guess, the sort of title, because these are the sort of principalities of the 100 principalities of the Riverlands. So people are sort of giving him this title by merit of, yeah, he's had some successes. He's sort of riding at the forefront of this tide being brought down from the north by the last king. So he's riding at the forefront of this. He gets to new places, as discussed previously. He teaches people what to do, how to resist, and he's had a couple of real good sort of road bump moments, and people are sort of starting to give him allegiance. Basically, they're like, yeah. So the front is moving south, and there's this one guy who, like, you're best off, signing up with him because he knows what he's doing. He has experience with these guys, and he can help us. So there's sort of like an unofficial actual title now being given to him by virtue of people like it when he turns up, because he knows what he's doing. And so he's continuing to fight the sort of oncoming tide, but he's had some good sieges, good successes in delaying things. And he writes back, and he lets you know that Ostor is with him, and that he doesn't like the weather here, but it's better than whatever's going on up north, because it didn't go well in the end when the Covenant Crusade army went into Dulciriath. It was bad. He made it back, rallied Strathfell, some of the smaller settlements, townships, and sort of made the core of his force, which has been with him since he's been moving south. He's doing quite well, he says, and he hopes you are too. And he hopes that whatever you went off to look for, that you found.
Oh, yeah.
And he hopes that somewhere in the south, maybe the elves, maybe you, Kameron, or someone else in the Holy City, maybe you have something we can bring to bear, because while he is having success slowing them down, it's not going to be possible for him to stop them at all. It's just he's good at burning bridges and destroying convoys and
he knows ultimately, unless something changes, he's on the back foot.
Yeah, he's not fighting a winning war at all. He's just being a thorn now. And he's writing you that hopefully there's something down there, because whatever I'm doing, it works for now, but it's not going to work for long. So
how soon into the 2 months do I receive that message?
I'll give it a good die of fate roll. You receive it fairly early into the 2 months.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to write back, sure.
That's what I'm going to do. How direct do I want to be? So I'm going to write back, and I'm just going to say thank him for the detailed information. I understand that I respect and I admire the man's courage in the situation he's found himself, but I read between the lines. I understand he is asking for help, essentially.
Or at least he's saying, like, dude,
someone needs to.
dude, we need to do something now.
As soon as I am able to, things are changing in the city, and I am going to do my best to aid him. If he could, when he receives this message, if he can send an emissary to the city, it can be Oscar, but it doesn't need someone with a diplomatic bent, possibly. Someone who's good at reading and writing. I don't know what the kind of literacy of this particular world is.
Yeah, it's sort of not everyone is lettered. A good number of the urbanites have a bit of letters.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Okay.
At least like the basics. Like they won't be writing any epics anytime soon, but they can make their mark.
I'll add in an extra little bit and recount what I can remember Wraithwind telling me about the capabilities of this king. So like look for anyone coming into your camps with these markings.
The mark
your
of fealty.
Forces hear the sound. If you can fight at range, that's going to be more beneficial.
Yep.
And obviously sign it off as King Kameron. No. No. I'm not going to. I was saying, much has changed since we last seen each other. I'll ask him actually. One thing I will ask him, because he had some sway with the elves in that area, if I remember a little bit. My misunderstanding. Any interactions that him and Tyrell had.
Well, it's not like he buddies up with the elves, but he knows about them.
Yeah, so
because they're on the river.
Jump in on that. I believe where we left it, Tyrell obviously had left some commandos in the area watching things. They have since absconded.
Yeah.
But Tyrell had also said to Beric that when Tyrell returned to his homeland, he'd be back with, because he knew what was coming, so he'd be back with some elven host action, essentially. But that was before we learned that the elves are currently about to disintegrate and all that. And
we need to
couple of looks into a mirror darkly, and that sort of thing. So
we need to get to that shortly. That's
I have some thoughts actually, or I have some things I'd like to introduce into play about that situation. So, but
stop making it worse, John. Stop.
I'll keep my mouth shut for now, though.
Right. So, you sent your letter to Beric, and let's see. I'm looking at the list here. So let's get to Ishmael. Kameron, what is up with your plan to mystically fortify Ishmael?
Yeah, so we discussed a little bit off session and between. My primary idea is to summon an old hero, and to fortify him with some power.
Right.
Because we spoke about, is it the spirit nature? That's what I was gonna shoot for.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
The bronze skin did sound pretty bad.
Yeah, you'd need a pretty big demon for that.
So in the time, over time, between sessions and this gap as I've been studying, I've been working on my circle. So I've built a pretty good circle in the Dark Watchers base. It's not a closet, it's a summoner's paradise. I've constructed it. So that is the plan. Once I think it's ready, yeah.
Well, let's see. Give it a good.
If John would like to name this hero of ages gone by, he's more than welcome to.
Yeah. So, I guess we're It doesn't need to be tied to the place that we're in right now. So whatever kind of ancient hero you wanted to put in, we have free reign. So.
Any thoughts, John? I'm looking at my. Let's check. Okay, that's only for the Restless Dead. Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, I've put my suggestion in the chat.
Okay.
I've gone for Mikhail Godlow. Godlow being my character's actual second name, because we talked about it potentially being like a heroic ancestor of his own.
An ancestor, yeah.
So I've gone for a slightly more sort of oldie, worldy name for the first one, and then the same last name.
How far back do you think this ancestor is? Are we talking hundreds of years?
I think it's one of those things where like we don't exactly know how far back it is, because it's like one of those sort of like verbal like legends that's been handed down in the family of like some great ancestor. But it's always, obviously, as you know, the problem with like verbal sort of legends is they get distorted as they're passed from like teller to teller. So it's one of those things where it's, whenever they talk about it in the family, it's just like, oh, in ages past, when our family's fortunes were not what they are now, there arose a great leader of the family. That sort of thing, you know. There's no one there being like,
well, actually, I think you'll find that it was in 1235, in the age of the dragon, that he first awoke on the earth. If you check the notes.
I really want you to play a character with that voice. That's going to be amazing.
I'm already threatening the OSE dropping game I play that my next character is going to be an Orc Barbarian with an Arnie voice.
Yes.
So if I die here before I die in that game, I might have the Arnie voice in this game instead.
So what I'm going to suggest then, if that's the case, I'm going to say that you obviously you're not really au fait with the nobles. You've lost faith with your nation's religion.
Well, I was actually going to say, to sort of run in parallel with that, I was going to say one of the other things I would want to do during this couple of months period is, obviously I've sort of like divorced myself from my previous life of like a holy crusader because I entirely lost my faith. And I was like, I can't really justify fighting these holy wars when I don't believe in that anymore. Look what it's done to like me and everybody else. Whereas I think now my character's like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't like the holy wars, but as I said at the end of the previous session, I appreciate the facts. Obviously, I know a lot about nobles and I've got all the etiquette, and I also know the doctrine of like the Covenant of the Flame. I know that if we're going to like make this work with you as a king, you're going to need to get all of the nobles on board Kameron's wild ride, because like without their support, you're not going to like get very far. So I think my character's going to sort of like, because he's not a prideful man, I think he's going to like swallow that pride, and he's going to start trying to like re-establish his ties under his previous identity with like the nobles. Like, and also this is a handy way of like me justifying having that sort of old war hero rep, because I don't really feel it makes a lot of sense at the minute when like no one knows who I am. So like, how would they know I'm an old war hero? Whereas if I sort of start like, oh yeah, I'm going to start like stepping back onto that stage, as I'd said, then it makes more sense because people know what I did as my previous self. And obviously, if they're like, oh, where have you been? I'll be like, fucking look at me, I've been like laid up. Again, I've been like recovering. I caught some like horrible disease and I was horribly injured. And like, I might even add a bit of dramatic flavour on it. I was like cursed by some like infidel during the Holy Wars, and now like I'm a look at what it's done to me. It's taken me this long to recover, and it was only by the light shining forth from the true King that I was restored to something like my true strength.
True strength.
Save the dream. And yeah, but basically, yeah, like I said, I want to start sort of like putting out my sort of like social like feelers into, because we've already got Sir Egress on board. So using that as a stepping stone, I want to sort of start reaching out to like my old contacts, re-establishing myself under my old identity, like my actual identity. So having so that would mean that like I'm not sort of as adverse to sort of going down the whole like noble route as you might expect, because although I'm like, I probably wouldn't choose to do this and like step back into the farming line again if I didn't have to. like we've just had a bit of a like taster session of like what's coming, and like to be honest, although it makes me a bit uncomfortable, like trying to get back on board this whole noble train, like do you know what, I can live with being a bit uncomfortable. That's fine. However, like I'd rather have all of those nobles and like a unified force when that like darkness comes like knocking on our door. So like, do you know what? For the greater good, like I'm gonna fucking start doing that.
The greater good.
The greater good.
I think you should be given a new trait, John. I do. It's not on your sheet already. You should be a pragmatic, because your character is very much the ethos that he's pragmatic in his.
What can I say, Cameron? I'm just a man with a man's courage.
Perhaps as a man does.
I can give you some courage. What I was going to suggest though, for Ishmael, in the summoning, the reason we go in this direction is because even though you've abandoned your noble heritage for quite some time,
Yeah.
one of the things you kept, I would suggest, is a token of this hero, of the family,
Well,
just as a reminder of what your family was like.
I was actually going to suggest as well, because we had previously established that the way I identified myself to Sir Regress was I like basically like I had like my family's like crest on like a signet ring, which is what I sort of sent to him originally as a proof of my identity, because we
I'm gonna
sort of
use
fought
that
together, and he'd
focusing
yeah.
to draw.
That's it. He'd given it me back. So how about we just say that like the reason I've kept hold of that is maybe that's like the heirloom that's been passed down, allegedly from the time of this like heroic ancestor, and it's always been sort of like passed down through the family, you know. And it was given to me because like I was the one going to fight in the Holy Crusades. So they were like, oh, you know, you're gonna like need it. And there's all sort of like I know it's not actually magical, but there's all sort of like fanciful like legends about it in the family. So I got given it as like almost like a token of good fortune for when I went away to fight these Holy Crusades. And obviously, well, it didn't bring me much good fortune, but who knows? Maybe in the future.
You never know. So, Wheelmaster, that is the plan.
All right. So draw thy circle.
Well, if I've already established it,
Establish what?
a circle, do I still have to roll?
Yeah,
even
you
though
still
it's
need to make the
free?
roll to see what the game effect is.
Okay.
Yeah. And like depending on what circles you're drawing, some of them only work for the one thing that you're doing and can't be reused as such. So
I'm just using the one to summon the spirit. I'm not.
the gate.
Don't
then.
anticipate it to be like coming at me with unless John's really misread his family history. I
It's going to be like a
suspect-
horrific,
Yeah.
ring wraith. Or maybe if you fuck up your roll, it'll be something else entirely. Okay, so draw your gate then. How much do you want out of the gate?
I'm going to spend a fair bit of time because I think I'll dedicate a day to doing this at least with Ishmael. So I'll put aside like maybe 4 or 5 hours for this gate. I don't know if how much I can top out at. I'm guessing I can't. Maybe I can double. I can't go over double my skill. There must be some like restriction.
I mean, however much you can, you think you can make, because it's one obstacle per dice.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Right. So yeah. I'll go over 4 hours.
Okay, I'll still go 4.
Okay.
And as a reminder, if you spend a fate point, you can call upon the power of the darkness to assist you in this endeavor.
There's nothing you can really fork in with Circumnation, is there? Nothing.
Symbology, at least.
All the skills I don't have. I'm guessing astrology doesn't count, or is it astrology of?
Astrology you can put anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just that you need to roll that separate because it might go down as well as up.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I don't have anything I can fork in. I don't think in this case. So my summoning orders don't really. Yeah, they don't work here. Was he a noble of Reathil by any chance, John? Are you muted?
Reathil.
It depends on how long back we go. Reathil might not have been a city state at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's probably from around the area we now know as Reathil. Whether it was Reathil back in the day, obviously, because I've left it nebulous, I'm quite happy for Johannes to say, like, oh no, it wasn't actually Reathil, then it was a collection of mud huts or whatever.
That is a classic type roll.
That's I actually spent Arthur as well on that dog shit roll.
Two Arthur on that.
I remember what it was like before I was a ring wraith.
You know what? I've got so many routine XPs on this and not actually any decent because I just keep completely tanking these rolls. But I'm going to spend. You know what? I'm going to spend Fate because not the corruption Fate. I'm going to spend Fate just to reroll the 6. Because
yeah, you might get it because you almost did that once already.
Nope.
Not this time though. Okay, so yeah, you're not quite satisfied with your circle there.
Okay. Well, buckle up, John.
All right. So, what order are you conjuring?
Well, this is. I am going to make the designation. This must be the Sanctified Dead.
Yeah.
They rights and they were buried with proper rites and.
Yeah, you're pulling down a spirit from the halls of their ancestors.
So this is going to be a obstacle 2.
I'm gonna look it up.
I don't think I've summoned this one before.
No, don't think so. It's not in this book, is it?
Is it in this one? On summoning.
Okay, so obstacle 4.
Obstacle 4
for Sanctified Dead.
Awesome. Right. My circle roll doesn't give me now. Okay, John. Okay. Okay. And again, summoning I can fork in.
Astrology, folklore, Imperalia, demonology.
I'm gonna fork in Imperalia.
Mhm.
And hope. Can I fork in more than one thing?
Yeah.
Can I decide to do astrology after the roll, or does it have to be?
No, you read your horoscope and you do the dumb thing that it says you to do.
Okay. Right. Again, I'm spending some Arthur on you, John. I'm gonna. It's obstacle 4. Come on, come to Papa. Oh, I'm gonna spend the Fate because, yep.
All right. Yeah. There's the shocked face of a man who is not shocked at all.
That's also a routine summoning roll, which does not get me now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can use the wait. Can I use the darkness?
No, that's helping dice. You add that in before.
Okay, never mind.
So,
Oh yeah.
Angry spirits, unintended summoning. So our plan was like, okay, let's go for this ancient hero. The ancient hero is going to be a sort of like a stepping stone to getting basically like a new start for Ishmael in
Yeah,
life,
give him some
in a
extra
way.
juice. That was the idea. And as you can see, it's gone fantastic.
Mhm. Mhm. Hmm.
Well, you know me, Matthew. Things always turn out well when I end up playing a slightly dark side character. You know that, Matthew.
Just, why is the summoning always the thing that gets me?
So,
'Cause you're a summoner.
yeah. So the ritual it draws out the spirit of this ancient hero who manifests in a translucent, pale golden shimmer and is manifested in this, or clad rather in this ancient armor with ancient accoutrement, and I think it looks about the summoning space and then turns to Cameron and says, "You there, which you have some explaining to do." And because we're doing the sort of timey-wimey stuff. So yes, you have summoned this glorious ancestor who will provide a service with the stipulation that, well, not that it needs your permission because your magic didn't go as you wanted it to. So you've drawn it here, but you've freed it from the binding of your magic because it just didn't take too well.
It's just he's just so heroic.
Yeah, he is too powerful. So, John, let me know a little bit about our ancient heroes' sort of mental
Great
landscape.
guy and would never ever.
Okay, so
Absolute degenerate.
So obviously, my sort of family uphold the sort of noble / like chivalrous sort of standards of the time of nobility. I imagine this guy though, he was like one of the first people who like helped to like forge the household, but obviously it was in like a very different time. So I imagine his idea of sort of maybe over time they've like made him up to be like, oh, he was this paragon of virtue and noblesse oblige and all of that, and like actually he was probably at the time he was probably more like just like a very like charismatic like warlord who just like did what he did like very well, and then later on they've sort of like revised some of the more unpleasant bits of his history because they didn't want to be like, oh yeah, actually our family came from like this warlord who was just like better at like murdering people than the other warlord was. So they've sort of recast him to suit the current sort of like narrative of what suits a noble family.
So we now have the Specter of Godlow in the tower where he has insisted, now that you had the temerity to bring him here, he will be involved in your undertakings. He will provide you with strategy for your coming war. He's very much interested in the conflict.
I imagine while this is going on, I'm sort of like knelt down in the stereotypical sort of like warrior pose, like sword sort of held like that. But I imagine I'm probably like with the other hand, I'm like holding the hand out with like the signet ring on, like towards the summoning circle, sort of in readiness for this summoning to take place, hoping that if it's true that it has been passed down from him, like he might recognize it.
And there comes a point where like it's like, you there, witch, you have some explaining to do. And then he doesn't give you the opportunity because he lays out his terms. You've brought me here. I've heard you please across the gulfs of death and life. And your campaign, he just basically says, yeah, I will run your war for you now. And this one here, seeing as, and he sort of gestures at himself, this one here carries
family.
a trinket precious to me. And I would spare him my ire. So I will not address him directly for fear of, well, let's leave it at that. This one will be our champion in the war that I will direct. He will be the sword, I will be the hand. You can stand to the side. And Godlow walks over and sort of runs an entirely non-physical hand across and through the blade that you're holding, and sort of smiles a little bit bitterly to himself, and he says, "You have wrenched me from the other side, and I am wrathful.
I hope that your wrath will, in time, be tempered into understanding of the necessity for what I must do in this time.
I understand necessities quite well. We will.
Your ancestors require the best and brightest, and I brought you forth to aid me in this time. For I am not just a summoner. I'll lean into it.
I was going to say at this point, I was going to sort of look again, sort of like showing all deference to Kameron.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to look at Kameron and then say in like the humblest voice I could manage, perhaps my liege, you should inform my honoured ancestor of your true position.
In this time that you find yourself drawn forth, I am the heir to the lines of man. Surprising as that may be, you can see the truth in my words.
One would think there are many strands. What makes you special?
I gesture at my eyes. And I've put like I didn't use it in the summoning itself, but I brought the crown as kind of like a representation.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put it on, but I sort of gesture at the crown.
It's like, so you've fashioned yourself an ornament. Doesn't seem to recognize it.
I turned to Ishmael. I think I like your forebear.
You hear Wyatt's voice from the void. I think a demonstration's in order.
Blast him in the face. So Godlow says, well, regardless, needs must be dire for you to resort to the methods that you have. And I am here now, and I have never, ever shirked my responsibility or back down from a challenge. Our sword will be relentless and invincible. He sort of stretches his translucent self a little bit. It has been some time. I wonder how it will feel like. And he reaches a hand to put on Ishmael's head like this, and sort of to like, I bless you, my child. And there's a luminosity that stretches down for a bit from Ishmael's head, and it shimmers away, and Godlow's own glow diminishes, and his translucent form becomes more opaque and solid as he you can feel his hand now on your head, Ishmael.
Does he look dead? Not Ishmael. We obviously know Ishmael is dead.
No,
like,
he looks like a painting of a saint. Like he doesn't look dead. Like he doesn't look like a ghost or an undead.
So if I have him in my council meetings and meeting people, the Dark Watch, it's not going to be obvious that he's a dead person.
No, he's very obvious in that he looks like he stepped out of a temple painting. Ishmael shimmers a little bit, and Godlow doesn't now, and is seemingly solid.
How do you, apologies for the any offense caused, Ishmael, but how do you feel?
Feel pretty good. Something's weird. Something's different now, obviously, because Godlow did something.
I feel a little strange, my liege, but it is tolerable. I've felt worse.
So you will be joining. This is to the Godlow. You'll be joining us until the war is concluded.
I never stop midway.
Okay. Are you aware of who your opponent is?
Does it matter?
There are many battles to come.
Please rise, good sir.
We fight the darkness itself.
And may you carry our sword into battle. I shan't be joining you on the field, I'm afraid, as much as it gnaws at me. But you are the sword now, and I have bestowed upon you whatever grace the ancestral lords and ladies and powers have seen fit to give me. I am now here, not able to use mine own against our common foes. It is up to you now. And it is a potent gift. Try it. And he sort of motions for anyone in the room. It's like, hit him.
Oh, I'm not the one for that.
I'm gonna look around for like a bit of. I'll say something like I would not raise my hand against my liege who I have sworn to serve, but I will look around for like some furniture or something like that.
Yeah, you're in the tower.
And then I'm gonna sort of lift the sword up that I've been leaning on, and I'm gonna put all my strength into it, such as it is. I'm gonna swing it at like the table or chair or whatever it is.
Yeah. No. So it goes fine, and it's like no. You, witch. And emotions are like, get that dagger. Put it to work on our champion. Quickly now. Pick up the blade. That's how wars are fought. pick up the blade.
Sorry,
stab.
I'm just lost in your immensity for a second, and I will pick up the dagger and I'll just kind of like.
So it sort of like it goes
I
through.
don't know any martial fighting
Yeah.
stuff.
No,
so-
you just like just put it on him and just press. It goes through. It doesn't. Ishmael feels nothing, and the dagger just goes into the hilt.
It would seem, Ishmael, this will protect you from most mundane forms of injury. However, as you know, we are currently engaged in several conflicts, and it does not make you invincible.
So seeing that the dagger like passes through me, I'm going to sort of trying to cover up my initial astonishment. I'm going to sort of like step to a nearby wall, and I'm going to try and like push my hand through the wall. So just like push it towards the wall, and then I'm just going to keep trying to push it on.
Yeah,
see if I can...
keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, I'm expecting like, oh, I can feel the wall, because obviously I can feel the ground beneath my feet, and I'm not falling through the ground. But when I feel it, I'm going to try and ignore that and sort of put it out of my mind and just keep pushing my hand.
Yeah. Yeah, you can feel it. It doesn't go through the wall.
Okay.
You can feel it that it's solid. But no, it doesn't go through.
Okay.
It doesn't quite work like that. My understanding of my times of spirits, which obviously is many because I'm a master summoner and I know what I'm doing.
And a Dark Watcher.
And the Dark Watcher.
Oh, forgive me, my king. I was, as you know, I am unacquainted with such things. Being a simple warrior, I was attempting to establish the boundaries of what I can do with this wondrous gift that my honoured ancestor has bestowed on me.
Said most mundane means will not harm you. Magic, such as my own craft, will still cause significant injury. And
Dark powers.
that's one interpretation. I know you're from a different time. Although considering our position, I can't really fault you for that. So.
And tell me, honoured War Master, I'll say addressing Godlow, how long will this mighty gift that you've bestowed upon me last?
The witch has given me some time. It shouldn't take more than a year to win this campaign, yes?
With your talents, I wouldn't imagine.
Splendid. We need not worry. Though the halls do call for me, I have some time.
I do not believe you require subsistence or rest, but I will put aside some quarters for you if you
Yes.
require
Yes, peace and quiet.
time to read or contemplate. If you
Have
could teach me,
have you ale?
not in this room, but I could certainly get some for you.
I should like to. And he looks like wistfully into the mid-distance.
Actually, if you would, if you'd make a small agreement with me, I can give you some very, very tasty ale, the rarest kinds. And I'll pull out, the Glavi gave me his flask.
I was just thinking now.
Yeah. This was given to me by a dear friend, a dwarf. This is the real stuff. Most mortal men could not even sniff the stuff.
Well, it is well and good, for I have passed into the halls of the ancestors. Give it here.
I would want something in return, a small thing. Small thing.
Yes.
In your own, when we have time, I just would like you to tell me of some of the great battles that you have taken part in. I would like to know a bit of your history, since it would
Surely
seem
you have but to walk into the repositories of the chroniclers.
You would think so.
Honoured War Master, it is simply that my liege wishes to hear the tales from your own lips, from a person who was actually there, rather than the second
The
hand
truth
account of
is
the
it
Chronicles.
then?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Just a few tales. Nothing. No power. No exchange of no exchange of time. Just stories. Small thing. I think that is acceptable.
We shall be at this for a long time. There will be time for idle chatter. Yes.
I will hand him the flask to have a taste if he so does.
Hmm.
I have no idea what effect it's going to have on this guy.
Yeah. No, he takes it. He puts it on his belt, I suppose, pouch. And very good.
As fate would have wanted.
We have we have a sanctified warlord from times past, who insists on doing his job again. And
I feel like you've given me like what would be described as a double-edged blade in this instance.
yeah, maybe triple.
Yep. I see the potential good and the potential bad. He's not really concerned with morality or how he wins this war, but he's going to win it. Yeah.
He gets the job done.
I understand that you've given me a little bit of something, but also problems.
To be fair, he is sort of freed of like the fear of consequence, because he's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to die again.
Yep.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. Much better than just a yes or a no. Let's just make me have more trouble.
Because the one of the options is kind of like, okay, well, yeah, you put it up by one, so you go to minor corporal spirits, and here's an imp.
That would be a double dick punch. That would be.
I think we can do a lot of good stuff with this.
Oh yeah.
This there'll be time enough for imps down the line, maybe demons.
Yeah, this is going to generate stories. Yeah, this guy.
Okay, so we have a sort of very rough and ready war master who has been perhaps smoothed over by the passage of time in the modern sources that refer to him, and he's a bit more of a not so saintly character.
Also, though, I will point out at some point when there's a quiet moment to my liege King Kameron that obviously, as you said, Godlow looks like he's a painting of a saint that's like come to life.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be a bad thing when you're trying to recruit other nobles to be like, look, the living saint walks beside me.
I'm going to use to the best of my abilities. When he's killed a town that got in the way, regardless if it was the enemy or the innocents, that I'm going to have to really, work on that PR move. But
and it's like,
for now,
yeah, it's like
you do the old favourite. Obviously, there were evildoers that were impure in the town because would a living saint have done otherwise?
I'm going to hire an imp as
PR
manager.
Yeah, for the emperor, etc. Okay, cool. So Ishmael has the spirit nature trait, which is extremely potent.
For 1
So
year
I'll add a trait and put that on. So I suppose you happen to have the page reference.
I do. It's in the codex, the sort of more up-to-date one, most up-to-date one, I guess. And it's on page 529.
Lovely, thank you. I've just noted that on my character sheet. I'll have a read of that after the session.
Yeah. If you were to buy this a la carte, 17 trait points.
Damn!
17 trait points. Yowza.
Well, you get it for free.
How would you even obtain something like that through normal means?
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't be able to, pretty much, right?
Wait until he double crosses you later, Cameron, and then that'll come to be known as the Godlow heresy.
Mm-hmm. Or it's like, no, I am the king now. Okay, so we've dealt with that part. We've got that started where Ishmael is now the the ghost knight of the new king, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm definitely planning to use that to my benefit when I'm trying to like recruit all the other nobles. Because obviously one of my sort of big things was, like heralding the return of the true king and letting all men know the joyous news. So I'll obviously be proselytizing on behalf of King Kameron to like the nobles when I'm trying to gather them to his banner. I'll also be making liberal mention of the fact that like even one of the living saints themselves now serves King Kameron as a sign of like his true heritage, and his followers are blessed. And I might let some of them demonstrate by like basically like, come at me.
Yeah, I'm untouchable.
Yeah, and just basically be like, oh, look at me. I'll obviously like reclaim my sort of identity as like Henri Godlow, my sort of former name, and then I'll basically be like, oh look, you do like the old Emperor Palpatine, where he's like, I may be weak and scarred, but my resolve. And then basically like, oh yeah,
unwavering.
that's it. Yeah, just be like, oh look, I was cursed and horrendously injured in the Holy Wars, and it's taken me this long to recover. But in following King Kameron and the living saint who walks beside him, I have been blessed. I'll be like, you can bear witness this, get a few of them to stab me, and be like, weapon goes through. So I'll be like, oh, there's your proof. If you need more proof that Kameron is the true king and the rightful wearer of the crown, and even the saints walk in his step. What more proof do you need?
Yeah.
And hopefully use that to bolster my efforts to gather the nobles to his banner.
Yeah. So would this be the local nobles, or?
It would be the local nobles. I'm trying to sort of target, because I'm going on my sort of knowledge. I'm trying to target people like Igress, who maybe came here for the Holy Wars and then sort of went native or stayed in the area, because obviously they'll know my reputation of being like a hero of the war. Obviously I can prove my identity to them. I know the sort of etiquette of how these nobles operate, so I can sort of use the appropriate language and formalities, etc. And I'm hoping that once we've got enough of them who know me on our side, we can then sort of start using them to then start gathering like the contacts because obviously I've been sort of divorced from that scene, so I probably don't know a lot of like the nobles who are native to this area, but the ones who've sort of like stayed, the nobles who came here in the Holy War and stayed here, as they've settled here, they've probably got to know the sort of like the other local nobles a lot better. So once I've got them on board, we can hopefully start sort of branching out.
Right. So we've got a sort of core group of basically the Riathilan, more or less the Riathilan government in exile. We've got them on board, and this would now be the sort of like watershed moment of us breaking out the news, the good news, as you're going about proselytizing about the return of the king. There's a lot of doves. So this is the moment where King Kameron becomes a figure in sort of the popular imagination now. And I think that's I don't know that we need to roll for that. You have a lot of chips stacked in all the right places for that to go off pretty well to start with. We've sort of laid the basis for all of this, and now we're coming out. Now the show is in town. So yeah, this is the moment where the ring bearer is revealed. So now folks know Kameron exists. Kameron has the crown. Kameron is being heralded as the sort of ancestral monarch of all the peoples in the Riverlands, which none of this was in the sort of public discourse at all. So now it is. And this changes things substantially because now there's going to be people, not unlike in Life of Brian, who will be coming to find Kameron for various purposes.
Yep.
But now the sort of like we're moving into that portion of this reclamation of the throne, where you've planted your flag. You've said, "I am the king."
And of course, Wyatt's off proselytizing a little further abroad.
Yeah, abroad. Yeah.
So the word is spreading beyond just Carameros and Darasea. So
Yeah.
we're doing the good work.
Yeah, it's like in the distant bars on the coast, like people whispering, like, "Do you hear
Forests
this?
of Riethal and hills and hinterlands, the hidden places.
Like, do you hear this nonsense about the king?" Like, there's been kings before. No. They said
this is the real shit, man.
this guy
I
has
saw
like
him
a
glowing
like
crown.
Yeah, like a glowing crown of moonlight. Like it might be the real thing.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, you know my real.
It's like, I've got to, see it to believe it, and so on. So people are talking now about the good King Kameron. And yeah. We've got 2 months of dots to give. Not so much to Kameron, because you've been studying and you've been doing a lot of other shit.
I
But,
did tragic magic.
but for Davrin and Ishmael, you've got 2
I'm going
months.
to the bathroom while these two deal with their dots.
Yep.
That would be swag.
So here's the practice.
Yeah. I love this chart.
Yeah.
I have to say, this game has reminded me of my love for a good chart.
Yeah, there's nothing quite
A
like
good
a good
chart, though, not just like a useless douchey chart. Like sometimes in D&D you get these charts and they ain't so good.
But yeah,
Bear with me, I'm just,
2 months you've got, and that's only for the skills. I've seemingly forgot since the last time we used this. I forgot to put down the stat things. So if you wanted to do push-ups and increase your power, you can do that as well. But I'm gonna have to fetch the chart.
I'm basically going to be working on like practicing with my sword and like practicing my persuasion as part of like the recruiting people. I'm sorry, you'll have to remind me how this works. It's been a while.
All right, so the sword is martial on the list here.
Yeah.
Cycle is 1 month. So
yeah.
Whichever type of dot you want to put on your sheet, the cycle is 1 month. So if you wanted to spend 2 hours for 2 months, you could put down 2 routine dots on your sword.
Okay.
If you wanted to just do like 1 month of sword play, 8 hours a day, you could put down 1 challenging.
And the hours are based on something, right? Because you get
your
many
will.
hours per a will, right?
Your will times 5.
Will times 5.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna
Jesus
do
Christ.
I'm gonna do that. Put down the 1 challenging dot on my sword.
I'm gonna dig it up now so that I
I'm
minimize.
sorry, I got so used to working on human scale. Now that I'm playing this Davrin, and I'm back to having some big numbers.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh right, that's like 20. I have 20 hours to practice. Holy crap, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and there's a limit there, because that doesn't work. No one does that.
No, that would be insane. But I'm guessing like, you can easily get you have to sleep for 8 hours, right? Let's say. So what's
I believe there's commentary on this, so I will look
16
it up.
hours is probably the maximum you could do it, probably, right?
Yeah, probably thereabouts. Otherwise, you would just die.
Eventually you just run yourself into the ground, right?
So forgive me if this is a silly question, but I'm wanting to put a challenging dot on a martial ability. So it's 8 hours. The cycle is 1 month. So does that mean I can spend a maximum of 8 hours doing it during a month? So I can only get the 1 dot and that's a month gone. Is that how it works?
No, you could do more. So let's look up the formula for the time. So a character may only be forced to practice for a number of hours equal to 3 times their will exponent. Okay, I was wrong.
Oh, 3. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. So 3 times.
Still significant. 12.
Yeah. So you've got in a day, you've got 3 times your will.
9 hours I've got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 9 hours a day, and Well, I guess that solves our problem with the sword then, because
So
it's
one day. One day for 8 hours.
Right. Practice log.
So okay.
Hey, Johannes, would you do me a really quick favor? I've gotten most of the sheet inputted now at this point for Davern.
Yep.
Could you just take a quick gander at the skills list and make sure, because I made this mistake with Wyatt and it's haunted me every session since with him. Could you just make sure that I haven't missed any skills that are crucial to making the character concept freaking work? Thank you.
Okay, you've got cheat wise twice on the list.
Did
I'm
I?
not sure, I'm not sure if you actually spent the.
No, that'll be. I'll have to deduct and re-add. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So we're looking at.
I didn't even notice it. Thank you.
So Davern was a kind of like an adventure type.
Yeah, he's like an adventurous rogue, but he has like a mercantile background, and we'll discover why he's in the city beyond just doing a favor for Wyatt here in a bit. But he's got lots of ties and friends, but he has other objectives as well to be in camera. So,
man, that's I was looking at the Dwarven Adventure skill list.
Oh, that's so good, right?
That is so good.
So beefy.
Right.
Like I saw that, I'm like, I'm getting that. I'm nicking that. That's mine now.
It's like, do you want to be a Dwarven axe bearer? Guess what? You're going to learn an axe.
Yeah.
You want to be an adventurer? Here's 16 skills.
Here's all these skills. Learn them all. It's like, okay, fuck it. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. No, it's it looks very much like this person would be at home in a dungeon.
Yeah.
Just equipped for a good dungeon session.
It's funny because the reason why him and Wyatt know each other roughly are because they're in similar circles and trades. So they kind of, it's one of those that you meet on the road type of deals kind of thing. Yeah. So it's definitely, I had both those characters with the idea that eventually we'd go into a dungeon again. Yeah. In mind. So I don't think I've missed anything really except for that cheat wise thing, which I will.
Sorry to interrupt. Is there any limit to how high I can buy skills using this downtime system?
No.
Like I can whack. Given the fact
right?
I can do like 9 hours a day over the course of like a month, I can rack up my sword skills and my fierce.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, it's totally up to you where you want to bring it down.
Yeah. So just let me know what your plan is, and we'll check it because it's been a while. It's been a while since we've used this last time.
I've basically used my first month to like rack my sword skill up to 6.
So
from 4.
So first month.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you need for your thing? Let me open up your sheet here. So because this is for me as well, like figuring out.
Okay. Let me set it back to 4 so you can see what I would have needed.
Yeah.
So for the first level, I would have needed 4 routine, 2 difficult, and 1 challenging.
Yeah, or the routines and one of the 2 other categories. So you don't need to fill out all 3.
All right, I racked them all up, so it might even be easier than that. So routine is 2 hours a day. I can spend like 9 hours like training a day because of my will.
Yeah.
So 2, 4, 6, 8. So I can fill the 4 routine in like a day. If I spend 8 hours
in a month. So you have 9 hours a day. Yeah. So you get the dot for the cycle. So
right. Okay.
Yeah. So if you put in the 9 hours, if you put in the 8 hours, because it's 2 hours for a routine dots for your sword. So if you put in 8 hours a day getting routine dots for your sword, you can knock that 4 dots down in a month. Okay. So that's your first month.
So so what I will do then is for the second month, I will also focus on the sword. This is the difficult ones, and that's 4 hours a day. So obviously again I can do the
2.
So then my months are gone, so I've knocked it up to 5.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Wonderful. Splendid. Okay. That's 2 months of ghost knight swordplay.
Well, I thought, given I've now got the opportunity to train with like an ancient heroic ancestor
really.
of mine,
Yeah.
and given the fact that he was like, "You are the sword I will wield," I was like, "Oh, best brush up on that sword skill then."
Yeah, it's like, oh shit. like,
So I think I was no slouch before, but like I imagine like my character's actually got like a bit of low key sort of like combat prowess. So I imagine like 'cause he previously sort of like let that slip a bit because he's like, "Oh, I'm some like leprous Phoebe, and I'm trying to leave that all behind myself." Whereas now he's like, "Oh, I'm actually trying to sort of like live up to the ideal of like my sort of noble ancestor," like because he previously he's just been like a legend, and I was like, "Yeah, whatever." But now he's like actually here as a living saint. I best like book my ideas up and like start trying to live up to it. And given that he's like, "Oh, you're going to be the weapon we're going to wield," I'm like, "Oh, I best make sure I've honed the edge of that weapon as much as I can."
I like the idea of everything about this. I enjoy the idea that there's a courtyard somewhere, maybe like inside the tower, maybe not, and you're there doing your sword play, and this, you know, just ridiculously picturesque and photogenic dude is standing off to the side of the field and is like, mediocre.
Yeah, I imagine he's a bit like a sort of drill sergeant, where like
Yeah.
I'm doing like my training and I'll be like, "Oh, sorry, you know, like with the disease, it's I'm not quite as sharp as I once was." And I'll be like, "No, I'll have less of those excuses. Did I ever tell you about the time I lost both my legs and an arm in the War of Magragon 3? And I still defeated a 100-strong army of roving barbarians, wielding my sword in my teeth."
Yeah.
That sort of
Uphill.
stupid. Yeah, basically, yeah.
Can I ask you a quick question as a reminder about the practice? With practice, can you learn a new skill from scratch?
Let me investigate.
Yeah, just I don't want to like, because there's some wises. I think we did it that way the last time, but
Yeah.
I believe we
I
have
think
done
it was
that previously, yeah.
Yeah.
on a similar scale as well.
Yeah, and I don't think there's like the only thing that would be hold on, let me go through. Okay, so yeah, I think the only thing that I would say is if you want to learn anything sorceress, you need to have an instructor. But aside from that, you just put down the dots, put in the time.
Yeah.
Good to go.
Just to let you know,
I was
King,
thinking, like, one of the things I would do coming into Karamos is like reconnect with the underworld and do all that stuff because I don't have underworld wise currently. So you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, and now you're on board with the pins and needles, so
right. Yeah,
have a
it's kinda
direct
like,
line now.
You know,
just to let you know, King Cameron, I've basically spent 2 months like practicing my sword play with my drill instructor, i.e., like the ancestor of my lineage. So like giving me some tips, and I've now gone up to sword 5. That's pretty much all I've been doing for 2 months.
Yeah,
just like doing sword practice with him, being like, "Call yourself a knight. I remember when I was barely out of my crib and I once throttled 2 giant snakes with my bare hands before I knew how to walk.
I was born on a battlefield.
I was not born. I carved my way out of the womb wielding my own blade."
Somehow.
Johannes, if I were to create a wise called River Wise, because there's a similar one for like Cave Wise, for example, is that basically, I know all about rivers, I know all about the river system and all like the, you know, that kind of thing. Is that basically what that would
So yeah, you in general, you know about rivers.
right? Yeah, that kind of
And,
makes, because that kind of goes with my concept of, because as we'll discover, I was a river trader, so
Riverman.
riverman basically. I lived on the river. Well,
And
a while.
to highlight the nature of wises, when you have river wise, it's rivers. Like you open up like a geology book or whatever, and you start reading about rivers, and then there's a different guy who has the Great River Wise.
I was about to say, can I have the Great Rivers Wise? That's the one I want. Yeah, okay.
So if you want to know about the Great River, and specialize in that, you pick that wise, and then you know about that particular thing.
Yeah.
and not rivers in general.
No, that's what I want to know. 'cause-
Oh man, shoot for that right skill, right time. Take something like Fairground Wise or something obscure.
Actually, I was actually thinking about.
Yeah, just go,
Cool.
for the big wins with something like
Just for that one session when we're like, if only we knew someone who
Fucking
understood.
finally get that thing.
Just so we like one session when we're like, if only we knew someone who understood the precise chemical composition of candy floss, and you can be like, actually,
Well,
you'll find that I am an experienced candy
Candy
floss
flosser.
chemist.
All right.
A candy connoisseur, what some would say.
All right. So if I'm not
Candy man.
mistaken by my reading here, it would be 2. We count it as routine dots under special, right? Is it special for Wises or? Sorry, I forget where.
No,
Wises
I
fall.
forget to.
We only did this once, so
There's so much in this game. It's easy to forget everything. Okay, so. Okay, so that would be here. Special.
Okay, so I have a question then about that. Since I'm learning them, and that would be basically under, I'd imagine, routine, right? Which is only 3 hours.
Yeah, that's all you need. Yep.
But the cycle is 3 months.
Yeah.
So if I did it for like 12 hours a day or 6 hours a day or whatever, could I then cut the cycle down?
No, the cycle is always the thing.
Or is the cycle hard and fast? Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And what we can do is you mark down on your sheet somewhere. It's like, how much progress you've made. And then when we have more time, you just put more stuff down.
Or I may just put them under being learned and then just, raw dog it during a session. And then it's only 2 notches I need. So I might just do it that way and then, pick up something that I can accomplish in that amount of time.
Yeah, that's fine as well.
Physical. You see, like physical, for example, my power stat is garbage. So like.
Oh yeah, for the stats, because that's only for skills. So.
Oh, my bad. It's different. Is it for the?
For stats, I'm gonna get it for you. So if you wanted to do push-ups.
I do push-ups all day long.
So the cycle is 1 month for power.
Perfect.
And routine 2 hours, difficult 4 hours, challenging 8 hours.
Yeah, I mean that's irrelevant. You said it was
Dev, go
4
to
and
give it
8.
to you.
4 and 8. I would only need 2 of those. One of each of those, basically. So
6 hours.
Okay, so then we'll bump that to 3, and then I'll be able to do something else probably as well, because that's only a month basically, and it's not even all the hours in a day that I can use. What about
Speed.
Yeah.
3 month cycle.
Yeah, no, screw that then. Is power still 1 month then?
Power is 1 month. Fort is 2 months. Steel is 2 months. Everything else is more.
Oh fuck it! I'll just do push-ups then. I'll just be lifting barrels for that time as I'm trying to make inroads. Cool, I'll do that.
Yeah, you're carrying stuff around, right? Because there's
I'm carrying it literally on my back because me and Lucia Lucia's my goat. So we just we carry all that shit. We do it ourselves. So
See, I'm just imagining Davron like putting like the fully laden like goat over his shoulders and like running up and down the museum steps, like, rising up back on the street.
We got this.
I could have been a contender.
We're never gonna be late.
Could have been somebody.
Right. So let me just. It would be under power. We'll do for 2 months. Would have been.
See the Matrix.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. That gets me done. Power. That's actually good because my power stat was garbage.
Right. Okay. So we've had a couple of months of going about, push-ups, swordplay, summoning ancient heroes from their well-deserved rest once again to do battle against evil. And we can sort of jump into the next thing in sort of real time shit. After the 2 months, like I said, yep. Sorry.
I just like imagine Tam just like doing the time machine where everything's moving very fast.
Yeah. So, what was it? Yeah. So we're on the doorstep of summer now. It's getting into the actual summer itself by the time we're done, and there have been displaced people streaming south from the north. So there's a lot of stories about how things have gone. There's a good number now of the you're positioned sort of fairly south from all the way up north where the sort of avalanche started. But many a domain has now fallen to the last king's armies, both living and dead. Because, well, you also like it's very easy now at this time to get stories about what's going on, who's attacking there, what's the deal up north. So yeah, there's living people in the armies of the last king. There's also dead people, ostensibly undead people, and the living ones all have the mark of fealty, which Kameron has seen up north, which I imagine, as we're sort of gathering our forces here for our little cabal of kingsmen, Kameron probably has shared some of this stuff that he knows.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
So, yeah, it's sort of common knowledge now that the sort of living people who serve the last king, they all have this like marking somewhere on their bodies, the mark of fealty.
I think again, sort of like, as part of my continued efforts to like recruit the nobles, I'll be sort of like trying to spin those stories into it as like, oh, this is obviously a sign of like the oncoming darkness that was prophesied, because the log like he's marching with like all these like horrendous like living dead abominations, and obviously the true king is trying to rally the armies of light to stand against this oncoming darkness. You know, we've all got to stand together or we're going to be swept aside.
Yeah. So that's all going quite well. It has been indicated that the well, you know that you've very much gained the attention of both the Glad Hand and Lady Morgason, the ruler of Caer Amoros. Obviously, because you've declared, the return of the king of all the domains in the Riverlands, and is here. So yeah, you've definitely gained everyone's notice now, and there's an encounter which Drury, given the intro of Davern here to our thing here, this is not me trying to mess with you at all, but I had this thing in mind. So one of the things that has sort of happened here is there was a small boy coming over with a note and to the tower, and it was a hastily scribbled, rather poorly written note, which indicates that it comes from Wyatt's sibling, and wants to have a meeting with, the king or the emissaries thereof, meaning absolutely no harm. What is the plan with that? Do you disregard it entirely? You've got the note, and
So does this come to me directly?
Oh, to the tower. Presumably, it gets to you because it's
Eventually.
addressed to you.
I don't know who this person is.
No, I informed everyone of the encounter with Adelstein, but the night in question.
But that wasn't the real Adelstein.
No, it was Adelstein clearly turned into an undead abomination.
So
but we know it was the real Adelstein, but he'd been like transmogrified into.
Right, he had been altered as the creatures we had encountered up north.
Yeah,
when
all
I
the
was
way back.
playing Terrail.
Well, it does not befit a newly crowned king to show fear to an emissary who may be hostile. So I will grant them an audience. I won't have the crown with me at that time though, because that might antagonize them. But I will have my champion, Ishmael the Reforged.
Ishmael the Sword.
So can I warm myself in here?
Yeah.
So as this is happening and you're preparing to go to this meeting, there is another young man who comes to the tower with a message. Although you recognize this young man, it's Loverich, Wyatt's apprentice, and he also has a note. And his note is written in very finely woven common script, but it's clearly written by someone who is a master of penmanship. And it simply says that you should all come over to Wyatt's place to talk about some business. And it's signed just simply D. Vathris, although you're not sure who this D. Vathris is.
I will respond with a time and a date that I am available. My calendar is filling up, unfortunately.
Speak to my secretary.
So we need to summon another ancestral figure and get some.
No, I was thinking that. I was thinking
you will be the pen that we will write with during this battle.
You were the greatest butler in all the lands. Serve me now, noble spirit.
It's just like you're emptying, the afterlife. It's like, no, come back. I need menial service.
Don't worry, I'll fill it back up again soon enough.
Yeah. So
you set up observes the scene, takes your reply, and then we'll scurry off as fast as his legs can take him, reporting back to moi. And I'm like, wow, this new king is a little cheeky. Well, I might just have to show up unannounced.
Cheekiness is the prerogative of the king.
Yeah.
So I will don my big leather kind of dustery coat, grab my arbalast, and I'm gonna head out into town and go find me a king.
Yeah. No. You'll find. Is like you're
conspicuously though. I want to do this conspicuously.
Yeah. So everyone at the tower, like, are you still staying there, King Kameron?
For now, yes. I don't have a palace.
Yeah. So I think because you're starting to attract all kinds of folk now. I think the core of your sort of future army, so Igris and his sort of vision guided believers, I think they're kind of your royal guard.
Yeah,
now.
like Praetorian.
Yeah, yeah. So you have these like no doubt like hard as nails dudes at the door when you get there, but before you get there, Davern, you've waded through some, some folks that are just like grabbing at your coat is like, hey, you going to see the king? Like, could you get in a good word for me?
Oh, no, you mistake me. I'm just here for the sightseeing.
I was like, oh, okay. And then watching you go is like, wait, no, are you going?
No, just a dwarf about the town. Don't mind me. I'm going to find a sort of inconspicuous spot to watch the tower, but not be seen.
No, it's there's a crowd, so it's easy to get lost.
So I'm just going to blend in.
Yeah. So there's these there's a couple of like hard guys at the door, armor. They've got like pole arms with a fairly unpleasant long blade at the end. It kind of hurts to look at it. It's like, oh, getting disemboweled by that would be a bad day. It's just lots of folks milling around, looking for various things. Like there's people who want their children blessed and everything from that to like I'm selling these sandals that were once worn by the king. It's special price for you.
They work quick. Yeah, it's only been a couple of months.
Yeah, no, they need to get on the ground floor. Yeah. But yeah, there's a whole thing going around the tower now. But yeah, it's very easy for you to observe from a distance. Okay, so there's where do you set the meeting? Like you're free to set up the whatever you want to do, Kameron. Like how do you do this with Addleston?
How do I have
where does it take place, and what's going on?
Okay. That's a good question. Cameron's not really a throne kind of guy. He's not ostentatious, but he'll sort of receive them in one of. So most of it's an underground tower, as we established, but there is a bit above ground.
Yeah.
So I'll use one of the higher up areas to sort of get a view of the city. I will have persuaded possibly some of the Dark Watchers to allow me to use the room and kind of appoint it a bit, get some banners in of the different noble houses, some of the older designs for the ties of the families and the nations that used to exist. Most people won't even recognize, but it sort of brings me a certain level of comfort. And I am trying to tie these disparate strands together. And I'll have members of what I am, my working title. I don't know if you saw my character sheet. My working title is the Council of Embers. Because I've rolled up through the campaign, I've rolled quite a few times on my apocalypse kind of skill, and this is then the indication I've got is this is like the end game for this world. Whether or not that's true, but that's the from the Foxfire Grandpappy to the elves that I spoke to, the song I heard, the moon, like all that sort of stuff is tied into this feeling like this is this is the last hope. So I'm going with that.
Into the Council of Embers at the appointed hour arrives a strange cohort. Davern, you've seen this entourage arrive. So what's going on there is there's a couple of very sort of temple knight looking guys, full armor, no weapons though, full armor, like plate mail styling, and sort of no signifying. Like you can't pick them out as like, oh yeah, these are like Reathil and Crusader knights or whatever. But they've got like the knightly full plate armor going. There's 4 of these, and they're carrying one of those like single seat chairs. So it's like they're carrying a chair on 2 like lengths of wood. It's fairly like it wasn't like, it's not like a noble carriage by any means. It's sort of very quickly put together, and none of them have weapons on them. On this sort of rickety chair is a normal sized Adelstan. We can clearly tell that it's the same guy before he, got blasted through a wall, got hurt, and shit started going wrong. He's very pale, not in like he's undead, but he's in a real fucking bad way. He's got his torso bare, his side like full on bandage and red, like soaked throughout with blood, where he got impaled, as we recall from when he was thrown through the wall. The window frame, just like impaled him.
If I recall, does he bear the sigil of the last king on him?
No, and
No? Okay.
It wasn't something that Wyatt either spotted or talked about, but Wyatt didn't like.
He probably wouldn't have even noticed it if he'd seen it, because it was.
Yeah, but not that we know. But yeah, he's entire side bandaged up, soaked in red. He looks very sort of wasted and sort of drained, very literally, and he's doing real bad now. A very distinct new thing is there's a couple of sigils on his sort of upper torso, which are like it's almost like they're smoldering, like it's clearly like carved into his flesh, and there's a like dying coals, that kind of like slight glow deep in the sort of carved sigils on his chest and his on the chair. And these guys arrive in the Court of Embers, and as they do, your royal guard is like,
I'm like,
you stay back.
So, Wheelmaster, as I see this strange entourage enter the tower, is it possible for me to sort of, maybe just surreptitiously slide my way over there?
Oh yeah, no one's giving a shit about you with this sideshow.
Yeah. So I just want to kind of like, get into a position where I'm like, able to, just see what's going on in the meeting,
Yeah, no, it's very easy for you to slide on in, because
I'll find a dark corner.
Oh, John, if you're talking, it's
I was just going to say, best believe with this going on, I'm going to be stood like very close to the king.
oh yeah.
yeah. So this is where we're going to wrap it. We won't go through the whole thing here, but we'll leave it here.
So we always do this to ourselves.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
So it's Adelstan, very clearly, as Wyatt has described. He looks like he is like 2 minutes away from dying. He's not doing great. He's not sort of gargantuan monster, and the knights carrying him sort of stand still at a distance now that everyone's lowering weapons. Like, no, you don't come closer. And it's a like very sort of raspy, unwell voice that he croaks out, just like, I've come to beg asylum from the king. I lay myself at your mercy. and there's some blood that comes up from the old windpipe, and it says, "I've come for salvation. What say you, King Kameron?" And we'll leave it at whatever Kameron says.
Salvation should always be granted to those who truly seek it. We will see the truth of your words.
Yeah, and then we close it there.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Great session again. Very much enjoyed it.
Yeah. A bit of bookkeeping, a little bit of a
We're in the king game
change
now.
of pace. Again, we need to do the trade vote that Drury, you were mentioning that we didn't get to now, but
yes.
we'll finagle
And
the
then,
trades.
and then I decided to create a whole new character.
Yeah, it's,
So-
like, it's stuff changes, but yeah, we'll wrap it there.
Well, yeah,
Continue next time.
I'll stop
Thanks,
the
guys.
stream here. Obviously, we'll sort out XP and whatever. So yeah, again, thank you very much, guys. Very much enjoyed it.